Happy Saturday, Internet. Here we are, post pancake, most of my way through the coffee, so you know it's a good day. It's a good day. So I posted a thing. Obviously, I don't have any tattoos, so I posted a thing where I had composited a tattoo onto my face. And so I figured I'd show you guys how I did it. So you can see here in DaVinci Resolve, I have brought in some elements. I brought in my overexposed video. You can kind of see that. And then I picked like a couple of these vector art lions. And I was like, totally wanted to get the face tat thing like Tyson. So a couple of things need to happen. One is I need to get this design onto my face. And I also need to make this video look better than it looks. Okay. So let's start with the first task first. So we go into the Fusion page in DaVinci Resolve, and I've got my media in one, which is just my video, and my media in two, which is just my tattoo asset. So all I'm seeing right now is what's coming in media one, going out, the media out, and that's it. So now in between there, I've got to do a bunch of stuff to it. So the real sauce, the real magic is here in what's called the surface tracker. Now this one I already tracked, and you can see that there's a little outline here around. I'll zoom in. It's probably hard to see on the internet. So you see this line here. That outline is the area that I'm going to track. So let's see, let me put this in there. All right. And so what I did was I established the boundaries of my track. Somewhere back behind here. There. I wanted to get my eyebrow in there, so I made, because I didn't know whether I was going to use that. So this was sort of my starting place here. Yeah. You coming to sit behind me, dude?
Yeah.
So
I want to be in the video.
Oh, okay. So then I hit mesh, and I upped my mesh amount to about 100 points, and made sure they weren't spaced too far apart. So I get this real even kind of mesh. So you can see, like, this is a tracking point. So it's going to track this contrast spot, so that when I raise my eyebrows and wrinkle things, whatever I put on this mesh is going to scrunch up along with it. So I tracked it back and forward, so you can see all these little white little hash marks here. Those white hash marks are frames that have been tracked.
That is a lot of frames.
It is a lot of frames. And then in my result, if I left it as normal, you'll see what's going to happen if I leave that as normal. I'm gonna just sort of put in my asset now. So I go over to Media 2 and I just plug it right into my little track. You can see that it's too big and it's white. And if I play back through this, as it sort of renders as it plays, it does a really great job of tracking and moving and everything, but everything about my asset is wrong. So I need to fix that. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to get rid of the white. So I'm going to use this Luma keyer. And I set the Luma keyer up in reverse. And you can see it got rid of the white. If I didn't invert it, then it would have got rid of the black. All right, so it got rid of the white. And then the next thing is that I needed to transform the thing, to resize it and to flip it around the other direction. So I'll drop that on there. So this is all work I did last night, so I'm just trying to go as fast as I can so you guys can see. So then I positioned it using the center X and Y, and I sized it and messed with the aspect until I liked the way it looked laying across my brow like that. And then the next step was to try to make it look a little bit, tiny bit more like a tattoo. It actually looks okay, and if I just went with that, I think I would have been happy. But I wanted to blur the edges. Come on. Shift. There we go. I wanted to blur the edges, and I'll throw this up over here so you can kind of see how things are looking. And I'll zoom in on it a bit.
That is it.
So the edges, right? As ink goes into skin, it doesn't make a hard line. So you can see if I zoom in real close here, I just kind of wanted to blur those edges so that the line was just a little softer. And then going back into my surface tracker in compositing mode, I switched it to soft light, and you can see that has it sort of take on a little bit of my skin color from the background. So now it looks like it's starting to sort of embed into the skin. And then I softened up the opacity. So instead of being like real dark like that, I just took that down a little bit. I think I had it at 822 or something. Somewhere in there. Here, I'll just type in the number and save myself some hassle. 0.822. There we go. All right, now. So that's blurring and composite mode, and so then finally, you can see it looks a little orangey. And tattoos have a tendency actually to look a little blue. So I took this color corrector mode here, node. Come on. There it is. And used this color corrector to change the color of the actual black towards blue a bit. And I messed with it a little bit and got it to a point where I thought it looked pretty good. And finally, this is our final output. So that's the compositing part, and you can see as I turn my head, it looks pretty great stuck to the side of my head like that. And it does a really good job of sort of following the mesh that we made in this surface tracker node. So that looks super good. Okay, next steps. I had to do something with the way that my overexposed footage looks. So I wanted to use this LUT, but look what happens when I put the LUT on. I like what it does to my face. If you look at my face, the contrast is nice. My beard starts to look really good. But, of course, this overexposed area here and this overexposed area here all get super saturated and super blown out. So I need to solve that problem. I like since my face is my primary concern, I sort of chose the LUT based on that, but now I got to sort of fix problems. So the first thing I wanted to fix was these problem areas. And to fix that, I desaturated the upper part of the image. Boom. And look at that. This curve is the luminance versus sat, so darker's on the left, brighter's on the right, and I just set this point here and lowered the saturation of the upper part of the image. And knocked down my exposure overall. Played with the contrast kind of in the middle a little bit. And then this balance node, my key light on this was actually the computer screen that was in front of me, and it has a very sort of blue and sort of stark looking cast, so I wanted to balance that out. But then, of course, when I do that, you see that my whole screen becomes fairly orange. But the face looks good. So then I wanted to kind of play with the saturation a little bit, and you can see what's happening. Things are getting heavier in color, which makes the tat look really good, but then I've got all of this going on. So I drew a power window around my face, and if I click on that there and set my power window to view, so you can see I drew a power window around my face, made it big and soft. Since I don't have a ton of movement, I didn't track it, I just stuck it there in the middle. And I used that to kind of preserve what I was doing in all the other nodes. And then I did this little outside node here where everything outside of that I would kind of rebalance and treat a little differently.
Wait, what about the overexposed thing over here?
Yeah, that part is definitely overexposed, and there's at some point when you overexpose an area, you're not going to get any of those pixels back. They're just blown out. And you can see on my scopes over here, I don't know if any of you guys have had any training in reading scopes, so I'm going to set this to my, let's use waveform. Okay. So you can see this is the image from left to right and how many pixels are in what area of luminance from bottom to top. So the darker areas down here and the brighter areas up here. And you can see here, this is my shirt, shoulder here. I could actually, I didn't set that up, but that's clearly my shirt in this area right here. And then over, this is going to be my shirt here, and over the shoulder here, you can see I've just a lot of blown out pixels. So that was just me not being a great cinematographer, and I can't get those back. The only thing I could do is what I did in this desat node is just sort of desaturate the upper part of the image so that I don't have like bright colors sort of bleeding into weird looking dark colors or whatever. So instead it looks a little smoother and a little more natural. That's the best I could do. Did the best I could. All right. And that is that.
I knew you were going to say that.
Then I just rendered the whole thing out to about 5 seconds. Somewhere in there. There we go. Set it. Named it. Rendered it. Boom. Took no time at all. It took way more time for me to explain to you what I just did than it took for me to actually do the thing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and it's kind of cool to see behind the scenes of how things look, how the new tools that we have in filmmaking give people like me on a budget a chance to do some really cool stuff, like put a tattoo on my face. It's pretty cool.
It actually does look like a tattoo on your head.
Totally does. All right. Bye-bye, Internet.
Bye. Make sure to like, subscribe.
Share.
Yes, all of that. And hit the bell.